Welcome to Copilot Podcasts. When a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man. These haunting words from A Clockwork Orange still send chills down readers' spines. Today, we're diving deep into F. Alexander's profound quotes about free will, state control, and what makes us human. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why this fictional writer's words feel more relevant than ever.
You know, it's fascinating how F. Alexander serves as this moral compass in the novel, even though he's technically a minor character. He's this passionate writer and political dissident who becomes absolutely crucial to the story's central themes.
Can you break down his core philosophy for us? What exactly was he arguing for?
At its heart, F. Alexander believed that the ability to choose, even between good and evil, is fundamental to being human. His most famous quote really captures this. When a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man.
That's such a powerful statement. Why was he so adamant about this idea of choice?
Well, he saw that the government was trying to eliminate crime through this psychological conditioning called the Ludovico technique. But to Alexander, forcing someone to be good was just as dehumanizing as letting them be evil.
So it's not just about being good or bad, it's about the freedom to choose between them?
Exactly. He argues that programmed virtue has no moral value. If you can't choose to do evil, you can't truly choose to do good either.
That's actually kind of mind-bending when you think about it.
Right? And he expresses this through this really vivid metaphor in his manuscript. He writes about man as a creature of growth and capable of sweetness, to ooze juiciously at the last round the bearded lips of God.
Wait, what does that mean exactly?
He's comparing humans to oranges, natural, organic beings full of life and potential. And he contrasts this with what he calls mechanical creation. What happens when the state tries to program people like machines.
That's where the title A Clockwork Orange comes from, right?
Exactly. It's this powerful symbol of something that looks natural on the outside but is artificially controlled on the inside, like a person who's been stripped of their free will.
You mentioned the state. Let's talk about F. Alexander's views on government control. What did he see as the biggest dangers?
He was particularly concerned about how easily society could slide into totalitarianism. He warns about the government recruiting brutal young roughs for the police and using debilitating and will-sapping techniques of conditioning.
That sounds disturbingly familiar.
It does, doesn't it? And here's what's really interesting. He wasn't just worried about the government. He was equally concerned about the public's willingness to give up their freedom.
How so?
He has this really powerful quote where he says, "The common people will let it go. Oh yes, they will sell liberty for a quieter life."
Wow, that's pretty cynical.
Yeah, but think about it. How often do we trade our freedoms for convenience or security? It's a trade-off we make all the time, often without even realizing it.
But there's some irony here too, right? F. Alexander isn't exactly a perfect hero himself.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the most fascinating aspects of his character. Despite all his high-minded principles about free will, he eventually tries to drive Alex to suicide for revenge.
So he betrays his own ideals?
Yes, and it's a brilliant piece of writing by Burgess. It shows how difficult it is to consistently uphold abstract principles when faced with deep personal pain.
That's such a human moment though, isn't it?
Exactly. And in a way, it makes his message even more powerful. The truth of his words stands independently of his personal failings.
Let's talk about how his ideas apply today. What would F. Alexander say about our current relationship with technology and control?
Well, think about social media algorithms that shape our behavior, or surveillance systems that monitor our actions. These are modern versions of what he warned about, systems that subtly limit our choices.
Are we becoming clockwork oranges without realizing it?
That's the question, isn't it? When we let algorithms decide what we see, what we buy, how we think, are we still truly choosing?
But surely some limitations on choice are necessary for society to function?
F. Alexander would probably argue that there's a crucial difference between voluntary social contracts and imposed control. It's about preserving the capacity to choose, even within agreed-upon limits.
That makes sense. It's not about having unlimited freedom, but about maintaining our essential humanity through choice.
Right. And he'd probably point out that the more we automate our decision-making, the more we risk becoming those clockwork oranges he warned about.
Let's dig deeper into his writing style. The language he uses is pretty unique.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly florid and passionate. He talks about raising his sword pen against the state, using this really dramatic, almost theatrical language.
Does that undermine his message at all?
Interestingly, even the novel acknowledges his pomposity. Alex initially mocks his writing style, But later, after experiencing the loss of free will himself, he realizes the essential truth in those overwrought words.
So the style might be fancy, but the substance is solid.
Exactly. And in a way, his passionate language reflects how deeply he feels about these issues. He's not just making academic arguments, he's fighting for what he sees as the essence of humanity.
You mentioned earlier about his views on goodness. Can you expand on that?
Sure. He argues that true goodness can only come from genuine choice. If you're programmed to be good, it's meaningless, just empty gestures without moral value.
That's quite a challenging idea.
It is. He's essentially saying that the possibility of evil is the price we pay for authentic morality. Without the freedom to choose wrong, choosing right means nothing.
How does this tie into his views on government and society?
Well, he sees any attempt to force goodness, whether through conditioning, surveillance, or social pressure, as fundamentally misguided. It might create order, but it destroys what makes us human.
That's pretty relevant to current debates about social control and security versus freedom.
Absolutely. Think about China's social credit system, or predictive policing algorithms. These are modern versions of what F. Alexander warned about, systems that try to enforce good behavior through control.
But don't we need some form of social control to prevent chaos?
F. Alexander would probably say there's a difference between having laws and completely removing choice. It's about maintaining the capacity for moral decision-making, not eliminating all constraints.
Let's talk about his personal transformation in the story. How does his character arc reflect his philosophy?
It's fascinating because he becomes a tragic example of his own warnings. When he discovers Alex is the one who attacked his wife, his desire for revenge overwhelms his principles about free will.
That's quite a powerful moment.
Yes, it shows how even the strongest believers in moral principles can be tempted to abandon them when faced with personal trauma. It makes his character deeply human.
Do you think that undermines his message?
Actually, I think it strengthens it. It shows that maintaining our principles isn't easy. It's a constant struggle. That's what makes moral choice meaningful.
As we wrap up, what do you think is the most important takeaway from F. Alexander's philosophy?
I think it's his warning that humanity isn't just about doing good things. It's about having the capacity to choose. When we start removing that choice, whether through technology or social control, we risk losing what makes us human.
That's a powerful message for our increasingly automated and controlled world.
And it's why his words still resonate today. As we face new forms of social control and behavioral modification, his defense of human choice becomes more relevant than ever.
So when we think about the future,
we need to ask ourselves, are we creating a world of clockwork oranges? Are we trading our essential humanity for the comfort of controlled behavior?
Those are questions we all need to grapple with.
And remember, as F. Alexander would say, the moment we stop choosing is the moment we stop being human.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Copilot Podcasts. Remember, true humanity lies not in being perfectly good, but in having the freedom to choose goodness.